you can hear you can hear me.
I
And
can hear you.
you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
All right. So this is 1 o'clock. The class is slated for 1 to 2, right? Okay, so before I move on, I would like to meet, since we are just like 4 thereabout, let's meet each other. My name is Esther Agboniro. I'm a software developer slash database administrator. So I would like to meet you. Please, right. I think you can unmute yourself. Let's just do this for like 2 minutes. Can you hear me at all? I can. If you're
Yes,
talking,
I can hear you.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Chidema. I'm
Okay.
based in Lagos. And yeah, just here to have an insight into backend development.
Have you,
Thank you.
sorry, so you have to tell me if you're a beginner, intermediate, or you're just here to cash fun. So,
For backend development, I'm a
yes.
beginner. I'm
All right.
actually a front-end developer. Yes.
Oh, okay. Divine, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Miss Esther.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm a beginner per se,
Okay.
but like I know some like I've programmed in Python a little bit, so I just want to test.
Okay. Okay. Please, I think we have 1 more minute. Any other person, like every one of us, we just have to introduce ourselves in the comment section in the chat so we can have an overview of those of us that are here. So we can, let's just look at this as a journey. Like we are trying to understand backend development, right? It's not I know it all something. It's not like I know it all, like you're seeing me as someone that is up there. No, we are together. Okay. So let me give room to let me just give one more person. Paramide Joshua. Can you just go ahead, please? Let's just do this, and each one of us should just write everything on the comment section.
Good afternoon. This is Farimade Joshua.
Oh,
I'm Farimade
sorry.
name.
Sorry.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a junior front end before, but I just want to migrate to backend. So
Okay.
for now, I don't know anything about just a beginner in backend.
Okay. That's great. That's great. Okay, so each one of us, I'll implore us to write it on the comment section or the chat per se, and then we kickstart. For those just joining us, I am Esther Agboniro. I'm a software developer, and then and also you can also view me as a database administrator, right? I can assume the both role. Well, backend development really. This talk, like this chat that we are currently doing is to expose us to backend development, the general overview of backend development. So it's going to be an interactive session. And please, if you have any question at any slide, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Like you can just raise your hands or something. I might not see it, or I don't know if there is a captain here that could just let me know if there's anything. All right. So backend development. Let's look at it from the restaurant's perspective. And I'm very glad that Valentine is upcoming. Hey, shout out to all of us that have Boo and Bay. Anyway, I'm not seeing you guys. Am I the only one in this class? You guys are not talking. Is it like I'm the only one in the class? waiting they stop. I
I'm in the
make her
class. Oh.
come down to our level, like as per make me yarn. Anyways, right?
People were calm.
I didn't get that. Okay. So backend development in terms of the restaurant's perspective, right? So you go to the restaurant, right, and you order, you make a sign to the waiter, they give you the menu, you try to, okay, I want this on the menu. But there are a lot of process because after then, when you order, then the waiter brings the food back to you, right? That's how obviously the order shouldn't take up to like 10 minutes at most so that we can eat and leave the restaurant. But there are processes involved. That little gesture that we've done, right? That little eating in the restaurants and going there are processes involved. So we could look at it, we could view it as the back end. Back end are those in the kitchen that are cooking the delicious meal that we want to have, right? They are in the kitchen, they make sure they mix everything, try to do their logic so that things can come out beautifully, right? And then you see the waiter. The waiter are like bringing the food. So they're like the APIs. Don't worry about this concept, this API concept. I'm going to explain it, right? So they'll bring the food, bring it in a nice tray, serve it, and you'll be like, oh wow, this is neatly presented. Then the front end, you come to the restaurant, you see that this restaurant is neat. I'm sitting on a nice table, and then they bring the food. The food is looking very yummy, and then you're eating. So that process, right? The process of making the meal is the back end. The process of you sitting on the chair, having fun, right, is the front end. Then the waiters bringing the meal are the form of APIs. I don't know if you have any question here. Should I go ahead? I don't. So I'm going to be, because this meeting is supposed to be like 40 minutes thereabout. And Zoom we have limited edition. So I'm going to be sending another link for us to join when this session is over. Thank you. So do we have any question, please? Okay. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead. So what is backend development really? Backend development is really behind the scenes, powering user interaction and data management.
Sorry, you can check the chat.
Oh, okay. Uh, okay, you said, does it mean without the API, front end can't work? Front end, so there are two separate entities, right? We have the front end stack or whatever that you use in building your front end. But if you want to connect to the back, if you want to connect to the back, just like we the waiter, if just like you in a restaurant, if you don't have a waiter, you have to go, and it's not even possible really. It is not possible for you to connect to the back end without the API. Have I answered your question? You will see how API work when we start now. Do you get? Esther, have I answered your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
All right. So like I was saying, I said backend development is the behind the scene, powering user interaction and data management. So it is everything that works behind. Everything that works behind is the backend, really. So if I'm cooking, I want to eat, the um the prior preparation or all the work I need, the logic, whatever that I need for something to work out is the backend. right? So development, like you building, the process of building whatever solution, whatever thing you want to do is backend development. So let me use the scenario of the restaurants. If I have, if I want them to prepare spaghetti for me, what I need to do is I've ordered, right? Okay, I need spaghetti. If it is going to be a freshly prepared stuff, they will have to like make different things, different spicy together, right? It is a process. So maybe they put water first, they add this, they add that. These are processes, there are processes involved to developing your spaghetti so that they can present it to you in a way that you like. So that is really backend development. It's an invisible engine, right, behind the website. So what it does now, let's okay, let me go ahead. So behind the website, you have it handles logic, the data, the user authentication. Don't worry about all of this. We explain it in details. Okay, so um what is wrong with this? Okay. Okay, sorry. So okay. So I have the front end versus the back end. Front end is basically what you see and you interact with, right? So when I go, let's now talk from the development perspective, right? If I have my phone and then I go to my Instagram, right? The UI, what I see, it is actually front end. What I see, what I interact with is my front end. I see beautiful pictures, I see posts, I see these, the way they align it, the way they make it look so attractive. That is front end. And that is what we really interact with. But then for the back end, you notice that on Instagram you can change your photo, your pictures, you can delete your pictures, you can do this, you can like you have a separate um message field whereby you send direct message to someone. All of those logics, all of those data handling, all of them are done from the back end. Do you get? So it is not something you see, right, as a user. What you interact with as a user is the front end. I want to, okay, I have gone to my app, my bank application. I want to make a payment. Okay, click this, click that. But do you notice that once you click on this, the thing, something that happens behind the scene is actually the back end. But what you are seeing really is the front end. I hope you understand. Can I move on, please? Please just, is there, I don't know, is you can just, if you have a question or
Yes,
something.
yes, you can go
And
ahead.
please, if I am too fast, please let me know, right? Okay, so okay, so this is how the front end and the back end works, right? I am trying to be explicit enough in terms of bringing front end and back end together so that you see the beautiful picture of how back end development works. So now I have my browser. You enter www.whatever.com, https whatever.com. That's my browser, right? I am searching for something. Then whatever you are passing in is the HTTP request. It's like you requesting when you go to the restaurant. I want to get this, the menu, okay, from all of these things that you have. I want this. It is the request. It's called HTTP request, right? Now, what it does is it passes through a server. So that's your www dot whatever. It is called a domain, right? We have networks and the likes, right? So when you pass, I want to buy this, right? You're passing a request. That request, there's a breach for you to come into my service, right? You pass it through the server, right? Through the server, and then from my server, it eats my service, like my backend service. So in my backend service, so let's just look at it from this picture, right? Okay, so I have my service. I've developed my service as a backend developer. I have a backend application, right? But for you to use it, I need to present a UI, that which is the user interface, what you will interface with. So now there are some things that you need to pass. Like, okay, for you to create an account, you need this, you need that, you need your first name, your last name, and some other things which are called payload, right? So I am passing it through the browser, through my browser to send a request, but it's a server, a kind of domain, because they normally you won't give out the we have the HTTP of a backend service, and we have the HTTPS of a backend service when they've hosted it. But it is the server, which is the HTTPS service, that I'm giving to you. So when I give you that, right, you will be able to access my service. You accessing my service, you have to pass through the API call. You have to call the application programming interface. You know, we have the user interface. Now you have to pass in let's just call it the application interface. I don't know if you get if you're getting me. So you have to pass through the application interface, right? And then let's say you want to create. So my create method, you are going to call my create method using the API call, which is the application programming interface. Now we have different services which I'll cover, like different programming languages, which I will try and cover, right? But then when you call my service is also talking to something, which is the database. My each backend service speaks to the database. So it's that database basically is for us to, like, okay, this I want to perform. It's just like a storehouse. Just look at it as a storehouse. So for you to have your spaghetti, as we're saying, so you don't mind me. It's not like I love spaghetti, but then, so let's say I have spaghetti. You know, you have a store where you get spaghetti, you keep your spaghetti, and okay, I want spaghetti, they remove it. So that storehouse where a lot of operations are going on, right, is your database. I hope I'm clear enough. Can I continue? Can I go to the next page? Let me see. Is there any? Okay. All right. So the next page. What is going on? All right. So the journey of the request to the backend. So now I have my backend, right? You know, we are talking about like an introduction to backend development, right? So I have if you come to my application, if you come to my restaurant, I want to buy this. Okay, yes, we have it. That's accept. Then when you accept it, then I'm going to, like, okay, you have passed some things, some payload to me. So whatever you are passing, you can write it down. That is your payload, like your first name, your last name, your whatever, or anything you are passing to create anything is payload, or anything you are passing really to make a request. I've already explained what a request is, right? From the application. it is called a payload. And my application will respond with, okay, what you have asked, yes, so let me send it back to you. Or what you have asked is not correct, or you are having issue, I'll send it back to you again. That's called response. So it's just like communication, right? Communication is not complete if there is no response and there is no request. Like, it's not complete if there are no two people involved, right? If I'm just saying, okay, I'm just the only one talking, you're not giving me a feedback. If there's no feedback, so the feedback for me as the feedback for backend development is actually the response. I hope you get that. So now I'll accept your request. I'll accept the request. I'll read it. Oh, this is what you're trying to say. Okay, then I'll decrypt it. So what I'm trying to do to decrypt it is for me to bring it down to my level. Let me use that word. So I am going to decrypt it. I am going to pass it. Like, decryption and passing is like you're telling my application, right, that okay, this is what I am trying to do. My application will now interpret it, right? Decrypt, pass, decode. Okay, this is what you're trying to do, right? Then it processes it that, okay, for what you sent, right, this is what I can do with what you have sent. I don't know if you get that, if I can continue. But this is just the journey of a request to the backend. You accept, you read, you decrypt, you pass, you decode, and you process. That is it. Okay. Can I continue, please? Somebody should just give a shout out,
Yes.
like, yeah,
Yes,
okay.
yes, you can. You can.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, let me see if someone has joined so I can make, yeah, okay. All right. So then the next guy that I have is the next guy that I have is the technologies. Obviously, I cannot move ahead without talking about the technologies involved in backend development. So we have programming languages, right? We have the so they will say there's a fuzz around that says, and this language is better than this language, this other language is better than that. No, each language is specific to what you want to achieve, really, right? We have different programming languages. We have Python, we have Java, we have JavaScript, we have PHP, we have Ruby, we have different programming languages. We have a lot of them, right, for backend development. So it is you down now. We have C#, we have C++, we have a lot, really, a lot. We have Ruby and Rails, we have them, but it is you that know what you want, right? So and you know the kind of application you want to learn. So if you ask me now, what kind of which language should I learn? Running out or out of time. Okay, so you can see I have 9 more minutes. So I sent the link for us to join the next class, so we can join it when this one goes off. So I have we have databases. So for databases, right, like I said, the storehouse. For database, we have the relational database and non-relational databases. So for relational database, what it does is like you arranging stuff in tables, rows and columns. Do you understand? So examples, we have MySQL, we have Postgres, we have MSSQL, we have Oracle. I think Oracle, yes. So all of these, and you can still look it up. They are relational databases. Well, non-relational database,
Sorry, Esther.
yes, please.
Sorry, the new link, where is it dropped, please?
I dropped it on the chat, please.
This chat, okay, I'll check. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is it. So we can just join that. All right. So the non-relational, as I was saying, they are the MongoDB. I don't know if you've heard of ScyllaDB. ScyllaDB was created, I think, 2010. It's a new database and it's very interesting. So we have ScyllaDB, we have a lot of databases that we, depending on your use case, really. And we have frameworks. So frameworks are like a building block on your programming languages. So for Python now, we have Django. We have Django REST. We have Flask. These are framework that you can use. For JavaScript, you have React. We have different framework for it. For Java, we have Spring Boot, right? We have Spring Boot and we have some others, but the one that is like that we use, like people use really, is Spring Boot. We have Spring, really. So these are like the technologies that we use for backend for backend development. So in case you want to choose this, you want to pick a niche. Okay, I want to pick this programming language. I want to pick Python and my database. I want to understand relational and non-relational database. Okay, let me pick maybe Postgres or maybe MySQL. Then for non-relational, I want to pick MongoDB. I want to pick ScyllaDB. Anyone you can just pick. Then your framework. Okay, for Python, I'm picking Django because for me, it is easy. I'm just saying. So these are like what we need to know. Then okay. So now we've explained some of the concepts, right? The API, it is what I need for communication between application. So API is not just communication between front-end and front-end developer. So we have something that is called client application. So for sales, as a salesperson, right, they'll tell you that my clients are those that want to get something from me or that want to buy something from me. Obviously, yes, in every space, right, your client is your client. API is like an interface, like for communication between application. So if you are coming to my application that you want to interface with my application, you are called a client. You are my client. Do you understand? I don't know if you get that. So if you're coming to my application, you're my client, right? For you to access my application, I have to do some data verification and authentication. So you would see that when you log on to an application and you want to it's allowing you to do a free trial or something. When you want to do something serious, say register. So your registration, you want to log in. It's going to first of all assess who is this. So there's a difference between authentication and authorization, right? I don't know if anyone can explain that for me. I don't know if anyone can explain authentication and authorization for me, please.
So can I try?
Please go ahead, please.
Okay, so authentication, like you said, is like okay, let me just, I'm trying to see if I can find an example. For example, when someone
Please.
is trying to access an application, they want to know if you are actually, who are you? That's
Okay.
just like authentication. Who are you? Then authorization is, the authentication will sort out if you're an account with us, if we know you, so that we can give you an access to your account. Then authorization is more like what you can do
All
when
right.
you have access here in our app. if you can do this as a person, if you have an access to certain places in our application. So one is just identifying you, and the other is like trying to limit what you can do or where you can access
All right. Thank
to
you
the
very
best
much,
of my
Chidima. Thank you. I had to like look at who is talking. Who has this swine voice? Don't worry. Valentine package for you. Like we need a lot of Valentine package for you. Anyways, she has said it all. So authentication really is you're telling me who are you? Who are you? Who you be? Then authorization is what can you do? So it's like you going for a battle. Sorry, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to use the story of David, right? So David was talking to Goliath, and he was like, who you be? Who you be? Who are you? What can you do? So it's telling you what's your passcode, what's your authentication passcode, and what's your authorization passcode. Do you understand? So who are you is authentication. What can you do is authorization, right? So when you come to my application, I will ask, who are you? Then when you've logged in, who are you in the sense that you're logging in? I'll have to check your credentials and the likes. Then what can you do? You can't just come to my application and just like do everything. No, there are specific API call for different roles. That's where we talk about roles and permission in backend development, right? You see when you have like a kind of token, they call it token. It depends on what you're using, right? So if you have a token, right, they will tell, okay, for this kind of token, my application, when it sees this kind of token, this person is a normal user. The person can only can only create something, can only log in and check some things and view some certain things. But when I see another token, I'll be able to say, oh, this person is a manager or whatever, so you should be able to do this, should be able to do that. So it's just the same thing in various home or organization. In my house, let's say you have a big house. If I come to your house, I will stay in the parlor. That's the first point of call. Some people they cannot even come in, right? They will just knock. While some other persons, they will come in, but they will sit in the parlor, and you have a kind of chair that they will sit down on. There are some that when they come, you have a specific chair, like you can bring out some things for them, but it's still in the parlor, but they have like a lot of rights. Then we have some persons that can follow you to your bedroom. Sure, you understand. So these are these are just like levels of permission. And we have data security. I need to secure your data. If you're coming to my application, I need to secure your data. And then because you won't want someone else to know a lot of things about you that you put online out, like some sensitive information. I need to secure your data. So I think what I would do now is for us to join the next class. I think that's fair enough, right? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes. So
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay, I
can we
have a
join now?
question. Oh, you already okay.